Welcome to Astro Rahu channel. I'm your host Vishal Sathye. Today I'm going to discuss about Pluto in astrology, and I'm going to give you some very unique insights about Pluto. First, we have to understand what Pluto is, and first of all, we have to understand some facts about this universe, some facts about this life. Opposites, as we all know, are alike. Like, if we look at an old man, he is very similar to an infant, but they look alike, but they are totally different. Same is the case with Pluto. Pluto is very similar to the sun. It looks like the sun, it behaves like the sun, it doesn't have that substance which sun has. Let us discuss actually what Pluto is. Pluto is a heavenly body. It has one very large moon, and it is substantially large, and it is trying to control this moon. This moon revolves around Pluto, and because it is too large, when it revolves around Pluto, in that process, Pluto also moves a lot. So you can observe that Pluto is trying to control this moon, even when he doesn't have the capacity to control such a large heavenly body. So it is, a continuous fight, and these two heavenly bodies actually, they again control so many other moons. So Pluto is like a solar system in itself, and there is continuous turmoil so that all these heavenly bodies do not escape and they hang on to this system. So within Pluto, this whole bunch of heavenly bodies is what Pluto is. So there is continuously, fight for control. To maintain control, there is fight and there is turmoil. This is what Pluto is. In a chart, wherever your sun is, your ego is there, and it flows naturally. Whereas wherever you find Pluto in your chart, there in that part of your life, you struggle with your ego. Things are not going right. Your ego doesn't flow very naturally in those parts. You are facing, in fact, a lot of challenges with your ego in those areas of your life, in that portion of the chart. Whenever Pluto is in a particular house, your reaction about those issues is very intense and very abrupt. Say if Pluto is in the ascendant, crack a joke about a person whose Pluto is in the ascendant, his reaction will be very instant. He'll be very conscious about his being and his ego, and his reaction will be very intense and very abrupt. In fact, if you have Pluto in the ascendant, and say if there's an actor, if there are many actors actually who have Pluto in the ascendant, and their acting style is a bit egoistic, and they will move around their face like this, and they will give very intense reactions. Their acting would have that punch of intensity in them, and it looks very nice and attractive when they are young. But actually, when these actors get old, this Pluto actually kind of impacts them negatively, because then all their actions are over in a nature. Uh, when when an actor gets old, and if he has Pluto in the ascendant, and then when he acts, his intensity gets very overblown. So this is what Pluto does. Wherever in the chart Pluto is, the intensity and the abrupt, the reaction is intense and abrupt. If you have Sun conjunct the Pluto, there is haste in the behavior. If a particular task is not done, he'll get very hasty, and over panic would be there. If Pluto is opposite the Sun, even then this nature is observed, but it is a bit less. When Pluto is opposite the Sun, many a times actually the ego actually at first, in the first half of the life, it struggles, the Sun struggles, and I have observed this in many charts. Later in the life, in the second part of their life, these guys, they do very well, and then their Sun actually shines brighter, because then this Pluto even does well, because the Pluto has the support of the Sun. Now I will explain you some characteristics about, very unique characteristics about the nature of Pluto. Pluto is like the Sun, it's your ego. Wherever Pluto is there in the chart, there would be ego struggle, there would be struggle of attaining and maintaining control. Pluto is also obsessive behavior. Pluto is overindulgence as well. Say I'm sharing some actually charts, which sharing some research which I have done. Say if you have Pluto in the 7th house, and if there are certain other alignments, you can also see that this person might be in a dual relationship. He might have 2 marriages simultaneously, or 3 marriages. He might have multiple relationships. If there is some supporting alignments, this can be the case, because as I am telling you, Pluto represents obsessive behavior, it represents overindulgence. So in the 7th house, this can be one of the possibility. It's not that in every chart, if Pluto is in the 7th house, this would not be definitely the case, but if certain alignments are there, this can be seen. And Pluto also represents fear, because Pluto is going out of his capacity, and he is trying to control people, and in that process there is a lot of turmoil and a lot of fear. So Pluto represents that. So wherever in the chart Pluto is, there would be fear and turmoil. So there would be something which you are not able to achieve very naturally, and you will have to put in more effort in order to achieve that. During my astrological research, in many cases, especially in when the other alignments are negative, especially in charts of rapists, serial rapists, I have found Pluto in the 7th house. So it's very logical, because Pluto represents fear, and in the 7th house, such culprits, they are fearful of the general public, especially the victims. that they actually pursue, and they wait for the victim, and during that, they are very much concerned about who is looking at them, or if is it a right time for them to do their illegal activity. And when they pounce and get control of the victim, all these things, they have a lot to do with Pluto in the 7th house. And this has been many times, many times I have found this. So this is something which I'm sharing with you. Pluto also represents versatility, because Pluto is trying to control a lot of heavenly bodies, and this in a way is his versatility. So wherever Pluto is, especially if Pluto is in the 10th house, and if it's supported very well by the 10th lord, and it's very well supported by Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, even Saturn, because all these represent, Jupiter represents wisdom, Mercury represents intellect, Saturn represents going and doing the work actually. And if Saturn is in the 7th house, even if you have Pluto anywhere in the chart, the person becomes very versatile. So if there is support of some of the planets and Pluto is well placed, Pluto can also represent a very versatile nature. You are very you have so many good qualities that you are good at so many things. You might be good in acting, you might be a very good composer, you might be, say, good in astrology, or some 10 number of programming and 10 number of different professions you might be good, and you might be doing them simultaneously. You might even be pursuing them simultaneously. This Pluto can represent, especially if it's in the 10th house. So these were some of my insights about Pluto, and in the next episode we'll continue with some other interesting topic about astrology. Till then, goodbye.